Welcome back to another fantastic video. Today we're going to be looking at the sources of executive power and how our president exercises the executive power that he is invested with. So starting off with executive power under the Articles of Confederation. So I want you to think back to what we talked about towards the very beginning of the year with the Articles of Confederation. Remember, this was the United States' first attempt at self-government. So as soon as we separate from Great Britain, we say, okay, here's the new type of government we're going to have, and that was the Articles of Confederation. The Articles created a very, very weak central government, and it didn't work. We know that because, well, we don't have the Articles anymore today. Okay, so executive power under the Articles of Confederation was virtually non-existent. The legislative branch had the most power under the Articles, and we didn't really even have an executive branch. So that was one of the things that we wanted to change when we adopted this new system of government under the Constitution. So the source of executive power, the main source of power for the president comes from Article 2 of the Constitution. Article 1 establishes the legislative branch. Article 2 establishes the executive branch. And there's a specific clause in Article 2. It's called the wild card clause. And the wild card, it's kind of like the wild card in Uno. And it says, and I'm paraphrasing, the executive power of the United States shall be vested in a president. But it doesn't tell us what executive power is, and it doesn't tell us what executive power isn't. So presidents throughout history have used the wild card clause for a whole bunch of different things because it's kind of like the necessary and proper clause in that it stretches their power, it expands it because it's not a very specific clause. So the president also gets some authority, some power by the immediate needs of the nation. So, what are some things that are going on in the United States at any given time? We kind of look to the president as the person who can help with those issues, help with those problems. So, think back to how presidents responded, President Trump and President Biden responded to the COVID crisis. We had some shutdowns. The schools were shut down. We had pauses on certain bills that were paid because that was what we needed as a nation at that time. Okay, the president is also responsible to the mandate of the people. Okay, and this word mandate, it kind of sounds like mandatory. And if something is mandatory, that means it has to happen, right? So if we're talking about the mandate of the people, we're saying this is what we as the people want you to do. This is what we need from you as the president. We also have some limits on presidential power, and we're going to talk a little bit more about these in class. But the Congress has great limits that are placed on that they're able to place on the executive branch, on the president, right? Because the president can't just do whatever he wants. The president can't make laws. Congress has to make those laws. The president can't go rogue. The legislative branch can impeach and remove the president. So they are definitely limited by other branches. We also have limits that are placed on the president by the courts, by the federal courts. If the president makes an executive order and the Supreme Court says that it's not constitutional, they can strike it down. So again, the president just can't do whatever he wants. And finally, another limit on presidential power is from public opinion. So if the people, if the United States population doesn't think that the president is doing a good job, then the president is probably, if they're up for it, not going to be reelected. Or maybe the president might get information about the public opinion on a certain thing. So then the president might decide to change course because he is a representative of what the people want. Okay, so I will go ahead and stop there. If you guys have any questions, let me know.